All right, guys, let's get active. So this is going to be a short video, and I'd like to ask you to watch it to the end. I'm just going to explain four things, and this is going to be foundational for most of the discussions we are going to have in future. I'll be talking about the masculine frame today. So we'll define what it is. We'll talk about why women test your frame. We're going to talk about why men lose their frame. And lastly, we're going to lay out the architecture of the masculine frame. So stay with me to the end. It shouldn't be more than 10 minutes. Okay. So I'll start with a question that is simple but devastating. So, gentlemen, when was the last time that you gave up a piece of yourself for the woman that you loved? So, I'm going to make it simple. So, for example, maybe you stopped hanging out with your boys because of this woman. Maybe you stopped going to the gym. You used to be a gym goer or a gym bro, and now you met this woman and you stopped going to the gym. Or maybe you said yes to her when everything inside you was saying no. Think about it. Take your time. Has anything like that happened? Was there any time that you did that, anything similar to a woman that you loved? And then after doing that, one day you woke up wondering why she no longer respected you. That is what happens to most guys. So that is a silent epidemic of most modern men. We lose our frame and then we lose ourselves. That actually happens like clockwork, the way day follows night. First you lose your frame, then you lose yourself, and then you lose respect. So what is frame and why does it matter? Rollo Tomasi, in The Rational Male, he defines frame as the mental point of origin from which a man leads his life. Sycax, who is a psychologist, defines frame as the universe or the world in which a relationship takes place. So from Sycax's definition, whoever defines that universe or that world, that is a person that holds a frame. So for example, if you are a bachelor living in Umoja, okay, in a one room, or you're living in a servant quarter in South Sea, and the woman you're in love with tells you can't live here, we go to Kileleshwa, then you move to Kileleshwa, you have entered her frame. Okay. So every relationship has a frame. That's one thing guys have to understand. All relationships, there's always a frame. And this frame is never shared. The reason we also call it masculine frame because it's rigid. You cannot keep bending it. It has to be held in place. The way a picture is held within a frame, that's how the frame is supposed to be. So in every relationship, there is a frame. And this frame is taken by one person, and that's the person that is leading in that relationship. And if one person is leading, it means the other person is following. So there's an expression that we normally use, the person who wears the pants in that relationship. That actually is a person holding the frame. It's a person who sets the terms. It's a person who leads the dance. And it's the person that holds the frame. So you have to remember that in a healthy relationship, the masculine frame is held by a man. Not out of tyranny, okay? Not out of misogyny, not because we hate women, not because you're chauvinistic, but it's because of leadership. And as a man, you need to be informed enough to know why men make better leaders than women. And if you don't know, you can comment in the section below so that I can make a video for that. I've written it in Unplugged 3, where I talk about the queen bees and why women like to report to male bosses compared to female bosses, among other things. Men are less emotional, more logical than women. Men are stronger, okay? And so many other things. So in a healthy relationship, it's a man that is supposed to be leading the relationship. It doesn't mean no relationships are led by men, but a man should lead. Ideally, if it's a proper man. A man is decisive. A man, at least who is leading, should be decisive. He should be centered. Okay? He should be emotionally regulated. The man should be financially capable, and he's also supposed to be physically strong. And that's why it's important for you guys to work out. You must make sure that you're physically strong. If you're a man who is having man boobs, it means the estrogen in your body is more than the testosterone. Working out ensures that you have more testosterone the way a man should actually have. And that's what makes you attractive to a woman who has more estrogen than you. And Tate calls this masculine frame perspicacity, okay? The ability to see reality clearly, to respond with strength instead of reactivity or instead of reacting. Silas Gisiora, the author of 50 Memos to Men, also tells us that having frame means having situational awareness. This is the art of reading the room, sensing danger, and steering your life with intention or intentionally. The man who has a frame is calm, is clear, and is anchored. And that, paradoxically, that is what makes him magnetic to women. So do not think that women want to share the frame with you. On the contrary, women actually want a man who has a frame and they want to enter into that frame. If your woman is fighting with you over the frame, it just means you're not paired with the right woman. Okay? That's why we've spoken about the age gap, and that's why we've spoken about marrying a woman who is younger than you, a woman who is not going to compete with you, a woman who respects you, a woman who admires you. That's the woman who will fit into your frame. So you must choose carefully. The other thing that I need to talk about is, why do women test your frame? Okay? So here we're going to dive deep into psychology. The first time that a woman meets you, maybe you've met at a party, you've met at an event, a sporting event, maybe it's a gala, whatever it is, okay? It could be a concert, it could be at a club, it could be in a class. She sees you in your element. At that moment, you've not yet been involved with her romantically. So you are carrying yourself out authentically, okay? You don't have what we call the fishbowl effect. So she sees you laughing with your buddies, maybe you're clapping each other's backs, okay? You're free, you're speaking loudly, you're speaking freely, okay? That is you in your element. You're with your friends, you look confident, you smell good, you're well groomed, okay? And what she doesn't know at that particular point about you, she will feel it with her imagination. She will tell herself, this guy, he must be strong, okay? This guy must be confident. This guy must be high value. He must be having a good job, okay? This guy must be an alpha, okay? So she builds you up in her mind to be a hero. You become, in her mind, you are Mr. Perfect, okay? Everything that she doesn't know, she's going to just fill it up in her mind to make you to make you a hero. Now, at that particular point, there is tension between who you actually are and who she thinks you are. And that tension is mystery, okay? And mystery is sexy. That is what turns a woman on, okay? Remember the example of a woman entering a room, maybe a bar, and there are so many men, okay? And these guys are all over the place. But all these guys, when she enters in, maybe she's a beautiful woman, they're all turning to look at her, they're saying hi to her. But there's one guy at the counter who never turns to look at her. He's maybe taking his drink, or he's looking at his phone, or he's focused on something. He never turns, everybody's turning. That woman will ask herself, why isn't that guy paying attention to me? There must be something about him, and that is what is going to make him attractive. So that's why we're saying mystery is sexy. So anyway, she meets you the first time, she builds you up in her mind, then you guys start knowing each other. So once the relationship begins, she now has, maybe she knows 20% of you, 80% of you is in her imagination. The more she knows you, the more she starts wondering, okay, is this guy who I think he is? Is he the real deal? Okay? Are you the confident man that I think you are? Or were you just performing? Were you just pretending to be confident? Why do women do this? Evolutionary psychology explains to us that this is a survival mechanism. And David Bass, the father of evolutionary psychology, explains in his book, The Evolution of Desire, that women have an evolutionary need to vet men carefully because the cost of choosing wrong biologically and socially is very high to women. And that's another reason why women use pre-selection. Women like men that other women already like because they think if they like you, they must be right. There must be something about you that she doesn't know. And that's why many women, they like married men as opposed to single men because the married man has been vetted. So anyway, she tests you. And this is what we call shit tests. So psychologists call this congruence testing. She tests whether you are congruent with who she thinks you are, whether you're congruent with who you seem to be. Okay? Red pill circles call this shit testing, and you can also call it compliance testing. So she pushes your buttons. She challenges your decisions. She creates friction. She wants to see how are you going to push back. Okay? Men do this, of course. You push each other, you see whether this guy is strong and so on. Roughhousing. Okay? So she does this not to destroy you or to bring you down, but to verify you. Okay? She's just checking, are you who you think I am? So if you fail these tests, gentlemen, she loses respect for you. Okay? She's already raised you very high. You are a hero, you are brave, you are confident, you're intelligent, and all that. And then if she tests you, she's going to lose respect. And if you pass the tests, the attraction deepens. Now, how do men lose their frame in relationships? So this is where men fail. When we meet a girl we really like, suddenly we forget who we are. We start simping for this girl. Okay? We start canceling plans with the friends that we see every day. You start going to the gym. If you used to watch football, maybe you stop watching football. Now you start watching sitcoms or soap operas with her. Okay? You start answering every text she sends you within seconds, like you're just sitting next to your phone. You start pedestalizing her. Okay? You start thinking she's the most beautiful woman in the world. And you want to worship the floor or the ground that she walks on. You make her the center of your world. Okay? This is how your frame begins to slip. Okay? Our forefathers understood this, and I've mentioned this before. Even after building homes for their wives, the men still had a home, a house rather. The Kikuyus call it Tingira, the Luos call it Abila. And that's where the men sat with their sons, the women had their own houses. Okay? That is how they kept the space between them and the women to stop them from entering the frame of the woman or from ending up simping. So the men were able to keep their masculine identity intact because they kept that space. Nowadays, of course, because of rural urban migration, we stay in close quarters with women and we end up losing the frame. And also because of romance novels and the movies we watch from Hollywood. So what's happening with the modern man? He lives in a one-bedroom apartment with his girlfriend or his wife. He spends every waking hour with her. And slowly, he becomes an emotional tampon. He's going to listen to all her bullshit. I know women talk a lot. You'll have to listen to her stories, how the boss shouted at her, okay? How her friend did not attend a birthday party. All these things that women like talking about. So instead of chasing your mission, you become a lapdog to her, you become an emotional tampon, and she loses respect for you. So she starts disrespecting you. She starts picking endless fights with you. She starts challenging your every decision, and she begins to resent you. When we were children, we learned that familiarity breeds contempt. And this is that particular saying in action. Because you've invested your entire identity into her, you tolerate the disrespect. It's like you're already suffering from sunk cost fallacy. And remember, as men, biologically, we are wired to solve our reproductive problem. So once we meet a woman who is willing to sleep with her, we want to double down. We want to invest in her, something we call strategic pluralism. It's like you want to throw everything at her, your time, your money, your emotions. You just want to lock her in. So what do you do when she disrespects you? You avoid conflict, you tolerate it. And some guys numb themselves with alcohol when the disrespect is too much. Okay? Find yourself drinking a lot. You watch football matches, get cheap dopamine and distract yourself from your present situation. You watch video games. Some guys even go and watch porn. Anything but avoid facing the truth. Okay? And what is the truth? You lost your frame and now you've lost your respect. So I want to conclude this with talking about the architecture of the masculine frame. What is the masculine frame? And how do you build it and how do you hold it? That's the most important thing that a man needs to understand. So the masculine frame is not being about domineering emotionally or being unavailable emotionally. Okay? It's about being a complete man. And it has 4 pillars, or roughly 4 pillars. The first one is physical sovereignty or physical integrity. You must be fit. You must get fit. You must stay strong. You must look capable of applying force if necessary. That means you must look like a protector. Like if a fight broke out, can you defend yourself? Can you defend her? If you're out of shape, you're probably not having this physical sovereignty. That's the first thing. Okay? Broad shoulders, V taper, all those things, that is physical sovereignty. Financial sovereignty is the second pillar of this masculine architecture. Can you pay your bills? Can you make your own money? Okay? So don't be a dependent adult. Don't be depending on your mom or your dad or relying on debts from your friends and things like that. You need to be able to take care of yourself financially. You need to understand how money works. Preferably, you need to be running your own business. Okay? But even if you're employed, it's still okay. Have your own side hustles. At least you need to be able to be financially stable. So masculine frame is not being about liquid, it's about being financially stable. Kevin Samuels talked about this when he defined the high value man as someone who has made a certain level of income over a certain number of years. Then there's cognitive dominance or mental sovereignty. And this takes the form of staying emotionally regulated. You must be stoic. You cannot be a guy who is so reactive, you're crying, you're emotional, and all that. You must be emotionally regulated. So stop being reactive to every provocation, and you need to be confident and you need to be stoic. That shows that you have cognitive dominance and you have mental sovereignty. The fourth one is social sovereignty. Social sovereignty means you have social skills. Do you have status? Can you communicate clearly? Okay? Can you hold your end in a conversation? Okay? This is very important. Do people respect you in the society? We normally say that women want the men that other women want and the one that other men want to be. Okay? And also be part of a brotherhood. That's part of your social sovereignty. If this woman notices you are a loner, it is going to send signals to her that you're socially awkward. You need to have friends, you need to have a brotherhood, okay? And you need to be spending times with them regularly or occasionally. And don't abandon your mission for the bedroom. You need to have a life. That's what we call social sovereignty. Don't be a guy who stays indoors the whole day. You never go anywhere, no social activities, and so on. Hike, go to movies, go to clubs, have a life, have a social life. And very importantly also is what we call your front end. Okay? The basics. Grooming. How do you look like? How do you dress up? Okay? Do you take care of your oral hygiene? Do you smell? Do you shower regularly? Do you wear clean clothes? Are your shoes polished? Okay? How do you speak? Do you have a filthy language? Okay? How do you dress? So you must have a sense of style. This is something you build over time. Many times, if a woman leaves you, you can actually smell why before you even hear the story. And that's why if a girl leaves you, don't chase her back. Use that opportunity to work on yourself. Get your money right, get your body right, get your mind right. Build that masculine frame. Because when she leaves you now, you are free. You don't have anyone shit testing you. You can build from the ground up. Because when you level up, you don't just get her back. You outgrow the need for her altogether. That is one of the consequences of taking up the burden of performance. And women actually take the burden of performance in marriages, and then they end up quitting those marriages. Because if your woman is going to the gym, she's doing her masters, you are taking beer, you have a pot belly, you are out of shape, she's advancing, she's getting her promotions, hypergamy will not allow her to keep you. Okay? So even you need to level up. You need to keep level up, and the leveling up and the chasing of excellence, you must continue it into perpetuity. So in summary, or in conclusion, women are not the problem when it comes to the frame. The real problem is that too many men, they step into relationships without a mission, without a center, and without a frame. Okay? And when you have no frame, you will inevitably be pulled into hers. Remember, nature abhors a vacuum. There is no vacuum you're going to have in a relationship. Either someone is wearing the pants or the other one is not. Okay? You either be the leader or you are the follower. There is no middle ground. You cannot be equal. One person is either the leader and the other one the follower. Sorry. And once a woman pulls you into a frame, that is the beginning of the end. So you should never let it happen. So I'll leave you with this. Are you the man who leads the dance? Or are you the man who is spun around by the woman? Because life, like love, is a constant negotiation of frames. And the man who holds his frame is the man who wins. I'll see you on the next one. Gentlemen, if you found value in this video, do me a solid. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with another man who needs to hear it. Here is why it matters. When you like and subscribe, YouTube pushes this content to more men out there who are struggling silently. So your simple click could be the reason another man wakes up to his reality. You could actually save a life by doing so. And for you who has already watched, subscribing makes sure you never miss these lessons. Every week, I'll be dropping strategies, red pill truths, and survival frameworks that will help you to stay sharp, stay sovereign, and ahead of the curve. So subscribe, like, share, because when one man wins, we all rise.